trades that are going to go on. We haven't been able to receive dollars into our possession. The major reason being major source of revenue, oil, production revenue. Yeah, dropping points. Barely barrels a day. Today, Nairametrics is 1.2, 1.5. So we're not receiving enough revenue now. Out of those monies that you know, a lot of it is to import petrol. So we heard about the subsidies and so on and so forth. And at one in time, the exchange rates were fixed. And if you recall, before the administration came in, what they say the market inflated Naira. The exchange rate at CBN was about 660, right? And that market was about 74. But at the end of the day, what it was closer for the transactions to what we call the transactions will be for it and get it at 460. And if you are traders who felt that we for that process, we'll go to what we call like I call it black market. The parallel markets was very exchange. When you say black market, something that goes on and so that way. So that's what has happened now by floating the market. I mean by floating the exchange and buying more markets, so then happen with everybody converting to buy what you want. But there is a shortage of supply. First example, we just see enough dollar inflation from dollar crude, oil tire, low production, prices constantly swinging up and down. That's one. Two, because you don't have enough in the market, and more people are looking to spend foreign exchange, either to import, either to children's schools, either to one thing, and this is putting pressure on the exchange. So the demand for the dollar in Nigeria is way higher than the supply. Yeah. So what the government has tried to do over time is, okay, how can we quickly shore up our own supply sources? So remember, at the end of last year, early this year, the 3.3 billion that came in from Afrex through a special arrangement with some lenders. There was another MOU that was signed with NLNG towards receiving upfront dividends, to the tune of about 7 billion over a period of time, and so on. So what the CBN has continually tried to do is say, okay, we'll try and help stabilize the market, but you don't have that supply. First, your reserves cannot fight it, so there's no need trying to use your reserves to battle the exchange rate. So leave it to float. It will go back and forth. Over the last 2-3 weeks, you've seen over the last 2-3 weeks, what you've seen is that from the monetary policy side, which is the CBN, they've tried to put all things in place. One of the things that a lot of people had said, and a lot of analysts had said before now, was that they needed to increase interest rates, which is one of the things that you saw that last week when treasury bills were sold, they had moved from about an average of 11-12% to an average of 19%, meaning that, and you heard the CBN governor say that within that period they had received almost $1 billion of inflows into Nigeria. So you need to see how quickly we can work on the supply side. Thankfully, this CBN and the NNPC have come back together to work together. So we'll see the inflow of revenues from crude oil sales. Another thing that I think, and me and my friends and analysts have been thinking, the MPR comes up next week. The Monetary Policy Committee MPC meeting comes up next week. The CBN Monetary Policy Committee meeting. Everybody's saying that they need to increase the interest rates, the MPR, that's the monetary policy rate. People are saying maybe by 2%. I do think it has to go as high as 5%. You should be looking at interest of about 23, between 23 and 25 to actually see whether those supply side.
The interest rate is what will attract more people.
Yeah, it will attract more people.
If I'm going to get more for my investment,
exactly, and
I want to drop the money.
exactly, and another reason for it is that all over the world, interest rates are high. Europe and America, because they've been battling inflation. So I don't see the reason why, if they are paying me 5% interest rates in America, why I want to bring my $1 million to Nigeria.
If it's low, that's true. So, but if it's a
bit
rate,
more competitive,
I
then
can bring
yeah,
the dollars.
I can bring the dollars here. Everybody was hoping that maybe by the end of February, by the end of January, rates will start to go down. But we heard the American Reserves and the European Union and the British say interest rates are not going down, meaning that monies that should be going towards um, emerging nations are not going to start coming maybe till the second half of the year, when things are, when the world economy feels that it's in a better place. So there's so many factors that are around it, but the major issue today now for why rates are continually going up, it does come down, maybe not as much as it used to before, is because there is a huge demand, which is by which
so it's basic economics, right?
Yeah, demand is higher than supply, and supply is just not enough.
All right, if you're just tuning in, this is NECA Voice of Business, reaching you live from Radio 1 103.5. We are talking Forex, the business challenge, opportunities in Nigeria. In the studio with me, I have Mr. UADE Ahimie. He's the head of strategy and public affairs, Nairametrics Financial Advocates, and operates Nairametrics.com. All right, so let's go to for other questions here. Don't forget you can call in on 0813 331 3172. 0813 331 3172. How does this fluctuating rate now, how does it affect the economy, our economy as it is?
Um, a number of things. One, businesses can plan. And when businesses can plan, what then happens is it disrupts market forces. So let me give you an example. If I know if I have a stable, let me use just before the margin of the unification of the foreign exchange market. Those who could not get foreign exchange from CBN went to the black market. They had an idea of how much they were going to get it. You know, at a point in time when the rates were 360, it was about 500 in the market. When the rate went to 410, 460, it was 750 in the parallel market. And as such, what then happens is that if I'm a trader and I bring in my goods, what happens is I know that if I cannot get from CBN, I can get from parallel market. I know what the rate is, 750 standard, so I can plan. So with that, I can tell you that if I spend ₦1 million today and I buy the goods and I sell, I know how much my profit is, and then I can buy another million and add part of my profit, and that's how it's meant to be. But with this volatility, what then happens is, you see, it's ₦1,000 today. I buy, and then before I buy my stock and bring it in, it has become ₦1,200. But I'm still going to have to replace. So there's a replacement cost issue that continually comes up when the rate continues, when the naira continues to devalue against the dollar, and that is a huge problem. So that's why you continually see prices of goods go up, not coming down, because everybody's anticipating.
So you get a price today, by the time you go back tomorrow, yes, it's another price.
It's a different price, and because the market is forever changing every day, almost every day now, then there's no way you can plan. So if I buy it today and I spend ₦1,700 to the dollar, and by the time I bring it and I open my shop tomorrow and the dollar is 1,750, I need to remember that I have to put up that mark. Otherwise, I will not be able to buy new sets of products. And what then happens is those who can afford it start to shut down, or they look for alternatives. What kind of alternatives do you have? You have to look in what's locally. Look for local raw materials to produce the things that you produce if they are available, and this could take some time. So as you go on, you find out that businesses some businesses begin to either reduce their costs, either you lay off people, or you reduce the quantity of things that you make and increase the price just to be able to stay afloat. So That's really what the issue is.
Okay, so as a business owner now, let's talk, especially the small. I know that it's hard for the big businesses. It's hard for every single business.
So even with the big businesses,
It's hard.
it's
So
extremely hard.
if you're talking to the small and medium scale businessman now, a person who's been running the business for a while, what strategies can you advise the person to take to be able to stay afloat?
Okay, so one of the things that um, my partner and I, when anytime we speak, and a lot of people will ask why, um, spend now, save later. So if you are making the money today, as you make it, you spend it and buy the things you need to buy so that your business can continue running because you don't know what the price is going to be tomorrow.
Okay, so not that you make the profit and keep it and you wait.
Yes, spend it now so that you stay afloat. Maybe not all, but at least a sizable amount of it for you to continue to stay afloat. So the money comes in now, spend it now, save later. Because you need to first survive. If you don't survive, then what when you save and then tomorrow you can the rates jump against you, what do you do towards getting your products? That's one. Um, Secondly is reduce your cost as much as possible. If you can do, you can provide services without having to maybe go to the office or open your shop for people, having to go to the shop and all, and where you can, package your things from, whether it's at home or you go to the store and ensure that you're not running too much cost on it, then you do that. That's another way to do that. Um, Lean and mean, meaning that if you have too many people now, unfortunately, as someone asked me that question this morning, I was like, it's unfortunate. Is it inhumane? No, it's not. It's a business decision that we have to make, and you have to make those decisions. And so on. It's tough. It might get tougher before it gets better. But those are some of the things that we need to think about as small businesses.
Okay. Also, as a small business owner, what are some of the things that they should look at? How do I put it? What are some of the things that you should be constantly on top of? What are the news you should look at? What are the policies you should look at, study? What are the things I should look at in the economy in Nigeria that will ultimately, sometimes we think some policies are big or they won't affect me. That will affect my business. What should I look at to help me plan this?
The first thing you have to look at is inflation. The inflation rate is killing. We always say that inflation is evil. If I have my way, I should shoot inflation every single day of my life.
I did speak with, I guess last week, talking of inflation, did say that inflation is not necessarily a bad thing.
It depends on where you're looking at it from. Inflation is high, exchange rate is high. You are not getting foreign investments into the system, and at the end of the day, what then happens is you just can't compete. Inflation is just going on. The news outside yesterday was that the IMF says that by the end of 2024, 2025, we might be hitting inflation at 4%, meaning that we're going into where Ghana was like a year and a half ago. And that won't help us. Why? Because inflation eats to everything. Once inflation comes up, prices just start to jump. It's not necessarily a bad thing if it's not running faster than the economy can catch up with. And that's what's happening. So the first thing is inflation. Monitor those prices every day. If you're someone who brings in goods from outside, monitor the exchange rate on a daily, if possible, 3 times a day. If you have contacts, call them. Monitor the official NAFE markets, monitor the parallel markets, monitor the P2P markets, and so on. So those are things that we need to do on a daily basis so that we can be abreast of what is going on. Also need to, like I said, if you have the money now, spend it and buy the things that you necessarily need to buy. Don't wait till tomorrow because
Today. Let me wait until next week before I buy it.
No. If it's 20 naira today, please buy it now. If you think you need it now, just buy it. And those are some of the things that small businesses should monitor on a daily basis because prices are changing every day. And some people will say, "Oh, but I don't import goods."
Yes.
But is a trickle down effect. And let me give an example with construction, for instance. So a number of things that we use for building a shop or a house, for instance, tiles, paints are made here, some of the finishing, a lot of them are brought in from outside Nigeria. So once that pricing starts to come, it comes down to you who wants to rent the shop. You see?
Sure.
Yeah,
Because it's a lot more to build it.
exactly. And when you are replacing them, you also have to factor in how much is it going to cost me? What what's the exchange rate going to be? So it's a trickle down effect. So once those things come to you who rents a shop or buy a shop, your rents go up and you have to apply that into the goods that you sell. Otherwise you don't make a profit for you to be able to buy the next set of goods. So it's a trickle down effect. So when people say, oh, but you're a farmer, the tractors, the seeds, the fertilizers, all those things cost money and it just comes down from that. And that's why you find out that exchange rates in the wrong direction, inflation in the wrong direction, it just continues to eat up your business.
Okay. All right. So don't forget you can call in on 0813 3313172. This is a good time to ask for strategies from our guest or if you are a business owner or you just want to know what exactly is happening with the economy now, especially with the dollar rates and the inflation. You can call in now on 0813 3313172. I have a message from Omosede Marina. It says, good morning, allow me and Mr. Wadi. I get stock shortage of Forex. Why is it so when we get remittance from the diaspora, but fintech has changed everything? My family members before now sent me dollars, but it was converted and I get the naira equivalent.
Fintechs did change so many things. I guess what has happened is this. You, I think there's a new policy that just came out. All inflows that are coming from must be paid out in naira. No dollar cash anymore. Before now you get the dollar.
Yeah.
And this policy came out about 2 3 weeks ago. So it's not the fintechs or the banks. It's the CBN policy that is at play. Um, but diaspora remittances have gone down dramatically. Where we used to get 20 25 billion in diaspora remittance, I'm not sure. I think that the last count was maybe one barely above a billion.
But no, so sending
A number of people are still sending money. Um, other things are this. A number of people are using other platforms to send money. So you get the naira here, and then the dollar, is used to trade, even by the people themselves outside. And those are some of the things that the CBN was saying. There was a circular that was released for what you call the IMTOs. Off the top of my head, I'll try and remember that. But those are some of the things that the CBN, from a monetary policy perspective, have been trying to fight. And the other thing for me is, do we really spend dollar in Nigeria? So why are we dollarizing Nigeria? And that has been a huge challenge. Everything now seems to be denominated in dollars. You build a house, it's denominated in dollars. You buy beans in the market, it's everybody. So we've dollarized so many things while we have an economy that is most people earn in naira, most people spend naira, and then why would there be so much demand against the dollar? So when the CBN says speculative means reasons that why people are doing this, well, it's a different. Everybody has his own opinion, but I just think that we need to, even government agencies have dollarized a number of their fees. So these are some of the things that I think the government needs to look at and enforce those policies of paying in naira, and then it reduces the pressure on dollar. But by and large, the CBN rule says now when those monies coming from the Western Union and all the transfer people, you get it in naira in Nigeria. If you're collecting it in Nigeria, you get it in naira. If you're transferring it, it's the same thing. You transfer the dollar, nobody's going to stop.
Okay. All right. You talked about a few of the policies, like this one that we just talked about. Apart from that, do you have any other suggestions that government can do to make this better when it comes to the access to dollars? Do we even should we even have access to dollars like this? In the first place?
We should have access
No,
to
what I mean is, as you said, everywhere is dollarized, and I can have If I just want to work out and just get dollars anyhow, I can get it anyhow, apart from doing a business with it. How should governments ensure that fine we can be I believe there should be a cap to access.
Well, I'm not sure about the cap when you look at free market economics. However, what the government is doing in terms of ensure or trying to ensure with the CBN, some of the CBN policies are trying to address is if you're in Nigeria, spend naira. And those are some of the things from the monetary perspective side that they're trying
I guess
to,
that's what I was trying to say.
work on. Also, by ensuring that um, the NNPC accounts, the agencies who receive foreign currencies, all their accounts have been moved back to the CBN fully now. Then it makes it easier because if those monies come in, CBN being the banker for the federal government will give you the naira or should give you the naira and so on. And then you're able to track how much dollars are coming into the economy. I think one of the things that happened over time is we've not been able to track how much dollars come into the Nigerian economy. Um, Usually, when monies are coming in, it's all capital importation. So it's either you're doing it whether it's foreign direct investment or foreign portfolio investment. All those all those remittances, one way or the other, come in, and CBN is aware of them. We know how much used to come in from revenues from NNPC in terms of crude. For the last 4 or 5 years, like you heard, NNPC had not remitted one kobo to the federal federation account, and these are things that this current administration is trying to correct by ensuring that okay, they sit down with the CBN, they've agreed on what comes in, what goes out, they will get better understanding of that. All the agencies who have access to charging in foreign currency because of the kind of transactions they do, all those remittances will come in through the CBN. We've also seen the policy by the CBN saying that all proceeds that go to the international oil companies, you can't move them all at once. You move 50% first, and then you move the balance after 90 days. These are all things to be able to at least stem the tide of demand against supply and ensure that we get stability. We always say, my partners and I at Nairametrics always say this: stability first for the dollar, whether it's 2,000, whether it's 3,000,
Let it stay somewhere.
stable. So allow me can plan and say, okay, it's 3,000. I know if I go out and buy, it will be 3,000 when I'm going to change tomorrow and buy the next thing. So that's where we need to get to. Stability first. All this anybody saying, oh, we need it to appreciate, whether it's going to come to, whether it's going to come back to 1 naira to $1. No. What we need first and foremost now as a country is what is the stable rate, and then we now start to see the market operate more efficiently, and then at a point in time the naira to the dollar will appreciate for as long as we continue to increase our export potential, which I think Nigeria has a lot.
Okay, so how does this affect foreign investments? Because a lot of times you have our governments always having meetings with foreign companies asking for investments. How does this affect the foreign investments into Nigeria?
Um, so, like I said earlier, if so, first and foremost, there are two parts of it. Um, the ease of doing business. The level of insecurity is not going to let anybody come in here. That's one. Um, if it's going to, if I want to come and register a business or do business in Nigeria, and there are too many bottlenecks, it's not going to help me do business here. And then for those who are looking for short-term, um, what's it called, business opportunities, the interest rates have not helped. You can't be asking people to bring um, millions of dollars into the system, and your interest rate is 11% when inflation at the end of last year was 28.92. It doesn't match. It's a 90-day transaction I want to run, whether it's either in the stock market or in the bond market. I need to be able to see that the rate of exchange for that short period is worth my while. Otherwise, like I said, interest rates in Europe and America are good enough for me to just leave my money there. So, um, and I can see that the CBN is trying to do that through through the reflective rates of what's it called treasury bills that were sold last week, average 19, fully oversubscribed because the I think it was a billion that they were willing to sell, and they sold much more than a billion. So you can see, and that is also to be able to mop up excess liquidity in the system. So that will attract foreign portfolio investors first and foremost. While we try and stabilize, other things I think we can do, and this is in my opinion, is what are the quick things that we, from an agri perspective, what are the quick things that we can grow and export, and then create an export line so that those foreign exchange can come. So, for instance, the fruits, some of those fruits that are usually exported from Nigeria, even the yam, you know, these are things that you can plan over a short-term period and work out the modalities with those who usually import them, and ensure that these exports go a long way. Government pushing in that direction, working with their foreign government counterparts to ensure the ease of doing that and meeting those standards are high. And within a short period, you should be able to start to see some level of foreign exchange on the agreement that once these exports are done, because of the special provisions that have been given, all those monies must come back through the system. So you start to see all these things start to help you. Aside from diversify revenue streams, and also tackle the incessant issue of oil theft. So at least increase oil production to even meet the OPEC quota of about 1.7 million barrels a day. I think if Nigeria can get to 1.7 million, 1.8 million production a day, we will be able to stabilize. In my opinion, I think we can do that. We just need to ensure that that is done and reduce oil theft and start to invest in infrastructure.
Okay, so you mentioned quite a few things because I was wanting to go that in this situation, are there still some things, some positives, some opportunities that some businesses now can take advantage of right now with the forex exchange rate?
Or local suppliers of raw materials, this is your opportunity. Um, and you need to tap into these opportunities because it will take a bit of time for it to come back again. And when I say tap into these opportunities, it means that your policies have to be of the highest standards. Um, your processes have to be of the highest standard. Don't think because you have this opportunity, you need to milk out everybody. You need to, make sure that you provide these services at the reasonableness that producers or those who want to buy it from you would expect. Not trying to make a kill. We are so short term in thinking these days that everybody wants to blow today and doesn't remember
Take advantage and not
that
build
is a
for.
long term, it's a marathon, it's never a sprint when it comes to business.
So at least if, for instance, I'm assuming what you're saying now is, for instance, if I couldn't get from my regular overseas supplier and I come to you, my local supplier, the quality I get from you and the pricing should be good enough. Even when the opportunity comes for me to go back to my overseas
I will stick
supplier,
with you.
I hope they are listening.
I hope they are.
All right, so yeah, after listening to Naked Voice of Business, I was reaching you from Radio 103.5 FM. We are looking at Forex business challenges and opportunities. I have Mr. UADE AHIMIE on industry with me. I'll be talking about that. So you can call in on 0813 or send us a message 0813 or send us a message and let's talk about how this exchange rate, everybody's shouting dollar, 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 dollar. You can ask how it's affecting your business, how it's affecting even the local produce, for instance. If you want to have questions, if you have questions, I can call in to ask that. Now, what we talked about encouraging exports to increase our dollar
Earnings.
our earnings. So, what advice would you give to someone looking to do like an export business, an export oriented business? What would you say?
So first thing first, go whatever I don't know which area it is, but you need to go and find out what the rules and regulations are towards exporting those things, what standards you need to meet, not just locally but also internationally. What are the things that you need to provide, the registrations that you need to do, and so on. I don't have any of that off the top of my head, but I'm sure if you reach out to the export promotion council, they'll be able to provide you details of that. Even if you check, I think on the customs website, there's some information in terms of how you process your exports, your goods for exports, and so on. So that's the first thing you should do. Know what you require, so that you just don't say, oh, they say no. Go to these organizations, go through their website, ask those questions, ask for the kind of certifications that you require for locally and internationally. I know that the NAFDAC and the UK associations have worked out some modalities for some of the products that can be exported and the standards they should meet. So ask those questions and find out. And then that way it makes it easier. So you don't just put the goods on the container and then they ship it back for you and it's rotten and you've lost all your money.
All right. So, what as an expert or in your expertise, what would you say the naira is going to be like? So, what do we have? Because everybody wants the naira to gain strength back, at least have a say when it comes to the world naira table, not the world currency table. So, what do you project for the naira?
Okay, so for all those who are thinking about appreciation immediately, they should stop thinking about it. What we should be thinking and looking at is, like I said earlier, stability first. Let it be stable. I don't know at what rate it's going to become stable.
We don't want it to be high.
But when you also look at it, if you want to become a net exporter, if you want to become a major exporter, then it might be better for you for the naira to be lower. Do you understand? Because it's cheaper for you to get those things and export them and so on. So that way, it's only when you're net importer, that's where it pays. It doesn't pay because you're looking, yeah, if you're exporting, it's better for you.
Yeah.
But like I said, I don't know where the rates are going to hit to. As of yesterday, I think it was about 1.8 in the parallel market. I don't know what it closed at in the official market. I haven't seen that today. I didn't see yesterday night, so I haven't seen it today. But stability is what we're looking for. And after stability, then we can now start talking about how does it appreciate. But to appreciate, we need to look at the fiscal side of the economy, how we bring in more people into taxes, what's the ease of doing business, what's the level of infrastructure development we're putting into this country, so that we can rebuild a number of those things. We continue to talk about food inflation. It's not just that farmers are producing, it's just moving it to those places on time and in the right manner. The cost of moving goods and products across Nigeria, so it's more expensive than you buying it and exporting it.
Yeah.
It's a given. It's analysis that we've done and we've seen, because of all both the regular taxes and the formal and informal taxes that you have to pay, and that's it. So stability first. Hopefully we'll be able to stabilize it at the rate that we're going. It might get to 2.5, maybe 3,000 before we get stability.
Wow.
Why? Because we need to quickly shore up the supply. And each time we're not showing up the supply, it's already almost 1.8. Something tells me by the end of this month it might hit 2,000. And I'm not being a doomsayer, but it's just the reality that we're seeing.
All right, we have to go right now from the show. Thank you so much for the review. Before we go, any words of encouragement? Because we can't end on the dooms.
Was it doom? No. Stability is words of encouragement. With stability, then we can plan. Words of encouragement, like I said earlier on, if you can spend now, save later. If you need it now, you have the money, buy it.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining us today. Our guest has been Mr. UADE Ahimie. He's the head of strategy and public affairs, Nairametrics Financial Advocates, and operates Nairametrics.com. Thank you so much once again, Mr. UADE, for coming.
Thank you for having me in the studio as always.
Next Voice of Business will be up same time next week for another edition of the show. Do join us then. It's been a pleasure being with you. Thank you all for listening. My name is Olawumi Akko. Do have a pleasant morning. Thank you.